Welcome back to the Toon Vegan. And I have a shout out today for noracooks.com. Thank you for the nacho cheese recipe, the vegan nacho cheese recipe that is, that we use today. And let's head to it. These are pretty good, but really plain. What if there's something I could add to this to make it taste better? Where these ingredients come from, I guess I gotta make nachos. Let me show you the ingredients. I guess nachos are a comfort food. A lot of people just take chips and they throw a whole bunch of different things on it. Doesn't really matter as long as you add some sort of sauce that kind of ties everything together. So I went in my refrigerator and I looked to see what I had and found some protein, found some vegetables, and found this amazing sauce online, and that's what I'm going to do today. I have a couple little tricks along the way, so hope you enjoy this. First off, found myself some cherry tomatoes, which I'm going to cut up. I cut up previously some cucumbers to give a little bit of a crunch to this. I think I'll add them after I do some cooking for the main topping, which is going to be black beans and cannellini beans. I always say that wrong. And I'm just doing half a can of each. I always buy green onions instead of regular onions, just for the fact that regular onions, not so good on my digestion. And I take them and I freeze them up. So I'm going to put these in a skillet with everything else and cook this up, except for the cucumbers, of course, and spinach, which I also freeze. So great thing to use. And let me talk to you how much I'm going to use of this while I'm cooking it. So first thing I always do is spray down my pan. I know this is a non-stick pan, but I just need a little bit of leverage when putting these ingredients in so they can slip around a little bit. This thing heats up pretty hot on this one side of my stove. Here goes the green onions. They are frozen. I freeze green onions because I buy them, buy as many as I can and just cut them up and put them in the freezer and throw them in. I don't use them every single day, so do the same thing with the spinach you see here. I buy spinach in these 5-pound containers, so I just kind of throw that in and keep in the freezer, and it's great. Here you have a half a can of black beans, half a can of cannellini beans, and sometimes I might cook down the frozen vegetables first, but today I can just throw everything in. Man, I don't really think it matters. And I have some cherry tomatoes that I found in my refrigerator. I would like the Roma tomatoes or the an old beefsteak tomato, but these were great as well. I seem to always have some of these tomatoes here. And I'm cutting them in 4s, so they're bite-sized, little tiny pieces. They're going to cook down a little bit. And I generally will add tomatoes last when I'm cooking something like that. Right now I'm just kind of throwing everything in with my favorite spatula, the silicone ones. Yeah. Just scraping off the side. If I notice anything that starts to stick at all, I will generally add a little bit of water, or I'll add some vegetable broth just to keep it from the bottom and keep it so nothing is burning. But I haven't gotten to that point where things do burn, so doing good with this. And I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. I'm trusting that the sauce that I'm going to be adding onto these nachos is going to be pretty substantial in its own, but a little bit of salt and pepper. Here's my Himalayan salt that I like. A little bit of that just to add something else to it. And another few stirs. Make sure it gets cooked in. Didn't take too long, about 5 minutes or so, maybe less of this. And yeah, just enough so that beans kind of break down a little bit, all my frozen vegetables get thawed, and the tomatoes start to get a little bit soft. Some people say nachos are all about the sauce. I guess I can agree, even though I really like those vegetables on top. So, this is from noracooks.com. I found this recipe and I cut it in half and I changed a few things around a little bit. So, cashews. Cashews make great cheese. Usually I would use my cashew cheese that I normally buy from the local grocery store. I ran out, they ran out, so I'm stuck with whatever I had left of these raw cashews. You have to use raw cashews. Please use that because you don't want the ones that are cooked in oil or have salt already on them. You're going to soak these for about 10 minutes or so when you put them in. So I'm using about a cup of these, what I had left, and I'm soaking those currently in hot water. So make them soft because you're going to blend everything up. You're going to add in a quarter cup of nutritional yeast. The best thing in the world. You've got to own this sort of thing. It's so good. You're going to have half of a lemon juice, which I'll begin to that in a moment. You are going to add in half a teaspoon of onion powder. Yes, I use onion powder, but I don't eat regular onions. For some reason that powder is not as bad to me. So, yeah, interesting enough. Half a teaspoon of garlic. Gotta love that garlic powder. Probably goes in everything I make. I might even sprinkle a little bit extra on the nachos when I'm done. And what's becoming a new favorite, smoked paprika, that I use also for the soy jerky that I make with the soy curls. It is great. I do a quarter teaspoon of this, maybe a little bit more. I'm going to use, of course, a teaspoon of salt, but it's kind of like to taste, so I just use this and kind of eye that. And then, of course, get everything viscous, 2 cups of water. So, let's get mixing. So, we're going to start with our cashews. 1 cup of cashews into the food processor. These are pre-softened for at least 10 minutes. They were soaked. And I'm going to add in a quarter cup of nutritional yeast. That's the good stuff right there. I love adding that to everything. It just adds so much to the sauces. I'm taking half a lemon now and I'm juicing that. I'm going to use the lemon juice to kind of bring some of those fats together with that little acidic flavor, and yeah, helps emulsify the fats. Good for that sort of thing. Yeah, I do this every single day, so I guess I'm a expert lemon juicer now. Doesn't seem like I'm adding a lot of ingredients to this, but it'll mix up pretty well once we get all the water in there. Next up, we've got our onion powder. Yes, onion powder. So much better for my digestive system than regular onions. I do not want to tell that story, but add in the comments if you want to hear it. Oh, and garlic powder. So I'm adding a teaspoon of each of these. I don't want to go too much of that. I haven't really tried this sauce yet, but I can always change a little bit with that. I'm adding in a quarter teaspoon of my new favorite thing, smoked paprika, the legendary soy curl ingredient, and then my Himalayan salt. This is just a taste. When I tried this later, I realized I needed a little bit more, and I added that in there. And now water. I'm adding 2 cups of water. And I'm going to realize very soon that the food processor was the wrong device to use for this mixing. But this is a great learning experience, so you can watch what happens. You can see those liquids going crazy, and yes, they are escaping a little bit, but that's not the real problem here. Real problem is the blade is really big, and so is the bowl of this machine, and it's just not liquefying everything the way I need it to. You want to get those cashews pureed right into like microscopic amounts. So, and yeah, I'm going to show off what actually happened. I'm a little bit surprised that things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. I've got the saucepan right there because we're going to be cooking this after. And yeah, here's a surprise. Look at all the cashews right there. Yep, not good enough. So we gotta head to the next best thing. The high-speed Ninja. Now this thing I'm going to be leaving for 30 seconds, and this thing is absolutely blending everything together. It does sound like a jet engine. I don't want to hurt everyone's ears with that. So just know that this thing is actually doing exactly what I need it to. And I've been using this for sauces, so works really well. And I probably wouldn't make a protein shake in it. It would taste like garlic. Yeah. So now, while I'm making a reduction out of my nacho cheese sauce, I'm taking my blue Garden of Eden chips and placing them on my air fry rack, and I'm going to put them in the toaster oven to toast. Yes, if I want that restaurant quality taste, I need to have these nice warm chips. Now, keep in mind that the fat content of these chips is sort of medium to low. A lot of chips are 10 or 12 grams of fat, so these aren't quite like restaurant quality, but also keep in mind you don't want to toast them for too long because they could burn. So I'm only going to do this for a few minutes. I just want to have that toasty sensation. I have it here on toast, and there we go. I waited a little bit longer for the sauce to sort of thicken up. I probably could have done a little bit longer, but I'm hungry. I'm ready to try this. So, here's the test. I don't want to burn myself. Oh yeah, that's good. So, let me know in the comments section what you think if you try this yourself. Try the sauce. You can thank, of course, noracooks.com for that. And try adding some of the beans. I think it should taste really good. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time on The Tuned Vegan.